Hey, how's it going, Apollo?
Hey Graham, how you doing?
Doing good, man. Obviously, Friday Night SmackDown this coming week. You got an Intercontinental Championship match against Big E. Do you think this Intercontinental
Yeah.
Championship match coming up on SmackDown this week is going to set the tone for what fans can expect from you in 2021 after your breakout 2020?
Oh, 100%, definitely. It's SmackDown. Raw was amazing. I feel like especially over the summer. It was cool for me to be able to show. You know, not a lot of people knew exactly what I could do or who I was and what I was like. So it's nice to be able to get out there and kind of show that and be involved in something um, meaningful and kind of a story. You know what I mean? For people to kind of be able to gravitate towards me or get a better understanding of who I am. Because if you look at my career so far, there hasn't really been a moment where I've had anything like that or been able to kind of show how I act in certain situations. So it was awesome. I mean, and working with the Hurt Business, I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. You got three legends that I got to work with who all amazing human beings and very respected and very respectful as well. So yeah. So to answer your question, no, I do definitely think that this is something that will set the tone for the new year for me personally. And I gotta come in with a bang. I gotta get started hot. Last week was the beginning of it, and it's got to carry over. New mindset, new goals. Still the same thing. I don't feel like the new year has changed me completely. I don't want to say that I've become a whole new person. You know what I mean? But this year is definitely going to be better than the last.
And 2020 was a huge year, as you mentioned. We got to see a bit of that backstory during your United States Championship run last year. And the last time we got to see something like that was when you were in NXT during the whole Finn Balor
Yeah.
NXT
Yeah.
Championship run, which was great too. And you were in the main roster there for a couple of years before you finally got that championship opportunity in 2020. In that time frame, are you thinking, okay, is this time ever going to come? Are you motivated and are you just focused that it's like, okay, I know it's going to come eventually, so I might as well just be patient, you know?
Well, it's one of those things where it's like you go through like you try to stay patient, but you're so hungry at the same time. So
100%.
you're yes, you're persistent. Finding motivation can be very hard when there's nothing essentially happening. You know what I mean? And it's hard to go come in week out and it just sit in catering or not have be involved on TV in any kind of way when the majority of us, we just want to be a part of something special. You know what I mean? Especially with it's such a new era now. We got the Thunderdome and everything, man. And it's so different. And it can be very frustrating at times. And for me personally, I struggled because I bring the anger home with me sometimes, which is not a good thing at all. And, my fiance would be trying to, talk to me and try to see what the issue was or try to, offer a solution. And I'm just, getting mad at everything that she's saying when all she's trying to do is help. So I had to learn. And another thing with this whole pandemic that actually helped me was it helped me grow as a man, as a person. It helped me grow patience. It helped me become very understanding. And, there was a while there where it just seemed like there was no hope. You know what I mean? Because like you said, from NXT till the next time that I was shown on TV with any kind of backstory or any kind of anything like that, it had been such a long time, and it's just like, you kind of do random things here and there. And at the beginning, you're just happy to have an opportunity. I've heard the just happy to be here kind of thing, but after a while that changes and it's like, okay, I'm the happy to be here phase is over, and it's like, okay, I deserve this now. You know what I mean? It's not a thing of it doesn't become like I'm just gonna be complacent. I'm just gonna wait for the next opportunity. It's like, okay, I got to start taking these opportunities and showing that I can do this or I am capable of doing whatever is asked of me. And, it's like, hey, not just me, but everybody. We work so hard, and it's like these opportunities are deserved by all of us. And I felt for me personally, it was something that I truly deserved. And I personally think I did a great job with it too as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. I would agree. And I think the crazy thing, too, is that this year, the time has absolutely flown by, but it's crazy that 2021 is going to mark 5 years that you've been on the main roster since you arrived the night after WrestleMania in 2016.
It goes so quick.
I know, it's crazy. It's hard to believe that 2016 was 5 years ago, but you've been here for about 5 years now. The Intercontinental Championship match coming up on Friday. Do you get used to kind of like that roller coaster ride? Because obviously not just in WWE, but the business in general. You could be on TV one week, not doing something the next. You haven't been on SmackDown for a little while before recently. You were on Raw pretty prominently throughout the summer as the U.S. champion. Do you get to a certain point, having been here for 5-6 years now, do you get to a certain point where it's like, okay, I'm used to this, or is it always a learning process?
No, I don't think, me personally, I don't think you ever can get used to that because sometimes it can catch you by surprise, where you think you're doing so well, and then all of a sudden it's just like, and it may not be because anything that you did. It may just be because that's just how it is. It's just part of the business where it's like, okay, you can show up to TV one day and it's just like, okay, you're not on. You know what I mean? But it's not anything that you did. It's not personal. It's not because you're not good enough or anything like that. So I think for me, what I struggled with at first was thinking that it was something that I did or something that I didn't do, or maybe my skill or lack of skill, or, you know what I mean? So that's what I would struggle with at first. And then I just kind of had to understand that, like, okay, it's not because of any specific reason, you know what I mean? It's just how it is, but it's still something that it's so hard to get used to, because like you said, we want to be on TV week in, week out. We want to be on TV every week. Ideally, that would be, that's what we want, is to be involved that often. So when you get, kind of blindsided and it's like, hey, today there's nothing. It hurts, it hurts, and it's not something that you can just kind of brush off. Even though you learn to kind of deal with it, it still bothers you somewhere inside there. And I feel like most people would be lying if they said that it didn't bother them.
Yeah, no, definitely. And for as great as 2020 was, I mean, even 2020 was a bit of a roller coaster. Obviously, you're United States champion, had a great run for most of the summer, but prior to that point, you qualified for the Money in the Bank ladder match. You weren't able to compete in it, and then you came back and you won the U.S. Championship. So when you find out that you're pulled from the ladder match, are you thinking, you got to be kidding me? Like, this is my big break. I'm finally going to be in the match. I can't be in it. Like, do you find out at that point that you're going to win the championship later on, or is it still like that kind of roller coaster process where you don't find that out until after you come back?
It's like that, and sometimes it's even the day of. It could be the day of where it's still unsure what you're doing, until where you arrive at the building and it's like, okay, this is what it is.
Yeah.
Qualifying for Money in the Bank was probably like easily, one of the highlights of my career, and then for it to be taken away, like, so quickly, it just shows you that that's how life, not even just wrestling is, but that's just how life is, but then where one door closes, another one always opens. So it's up to us as performers, or even human beings in general, just to stay persistent and stay the course, stay motivated, control what we can control, and always make sure that we're ready, because it could be any day where it's just like, hey, this is what's going to happen. You know what I mean? And you gotta make sure that you are always prepared for that situation, and you've done everything that you can, or everything that you in your power to make sure that you are ready for that, because sometimes it comes out of nowhere. It's not something that I was expecting, but it's like, okay, this is what it is, and I have to be ready. It's not, I can't walk in there and be like, hey guys, I don't know if I'm ready for this. It's like, this is the reason why I'm here. It's to be champion. So when I was, when I had the opportunity to become United States champion, I was like, I'm embracing this situation. This is a dream. This is what the reason I worked so hard is for this moment right here. So I can't say no to it. You know what I mean? Whether, I don't know what's going to happen. I didn't know how it was going to go, but I was like, okay, I'm ready for this ride. Let's take this ride and let's see how it goes.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's cool. And that when you won the United States Championship, made for such a great moment on Raw. I think it was the Memorial Day episode, too, back in May.
It was, yeah. 25th, yep.
Yeah, 25th. Yeah, no, super cool stuff. Yep. So that made for a great moment. Now that you're going for another championship on Friday, that being the Intercontinental title, Is it? I probably think I know the answer to this question, but is it cool just to get like another career accomplishment, or at this point, after becoming champion the last time, do you want to get another moment where you can bring another championship home to your kids to see their reaction after you win it?
Man, it's winning a championship. I don't think is something that ever becomes. I don't think it's something that ever just is like, okay, this is another one. There's something special about each one of those accomplishments. I don't think an Olympian, Michael Phelps, each one of his gold medals means something to him. It's not just like, okay, I got another one. Okay, I'm just gonna put it over here on the side. It's a lot. It means that you are the guy. You are the guy that everyone's coming after as well. It means you are the best at what you do. You're the top at what you do, and it's a good feeling. It comes with a lot of pressure. But that's what we do. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. This is the reason why we're all here, is because we are able to deal with that pressure, and I'd love, again, to bring another title home to my kids and, hang one up in the trophy case of, my collection. Mm-hmm. I got the old United States Championship, then I got the newer one that came out, and to have the Intercontinental Championship hung up in there too would be, it's what dreams are made of. This is what, it's kind of like the start of a Hall of Fame career. I feel like to be known as one of the best, championships have to be won. You know what I mean? And I feel like I'm headed in a good direction. I'm not saying that I'm gonna go in there and because Biggie, much respect. A hell of a competitor, a guy I have a lot of respect for, a guy who's well respected as well, not just by his peers, but, the fans all over. And I'm honored to be able to step in the ring with him too. But at the same time, it's like, okay, we're both fighting for a prize. At a certain point, the respect and the friendship and all that stuff has to kind of be pushed to the side. And it's like, okay, now it's time to compete. You want this title. I want this title. We got to go in there. Mm-hmm. Fight and see who the better man is, and whoever the better man is going to come out champion. And whoever it is, we'll get up, we'll shake hands at the end. But it's about competition when that bell rings.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think the most exciting thing about this match, too, is that I believe, unless I'm mistaken, this is going to be the first ever one-on-one match you guys have had on TV. Is that right?
First ever one. I don't even think we've been in the ring, like, in any kind of...
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, too.
In any kind of way, you know what I mean? So it's new, it's fresh, it's going to be exciting. It's something new for the people to see, and it's going to be good. It's going to be good. You got, two amazing competitors, two amazing athletes, two amazing performers that are going to go out there and give everything they have and leave it all out there. Yeah. And it's going to be one hell of a show. So I hope everybody tunes in. Everybody needs to tune in.
Mm-hmm. I think the only interaction you guys have had is, from what I could find, was in Royal Rumble matches, which is crazy for two guys that have been on the show consistently for 5 years now. Like you said, not even a 6-man tag team match or something, which is crazy.
Nothing. There hasn't been anything. Yeah. And and that's the thing. Is like, I think as far as I can remember, majority of the time we've been on separate rosters. When he's been with New Day, I feel like either they were on SmackDown and I was on Raw, or they were on Raw and I was on SmackDown. So I don't think we've either really been on the same rosters until now. And it's one of those things where it's like, hey, it's bound to happen, and it's going to happen in 2 days. So I'm excited.
Yeah, second ever episode of SmackDown of 2021, so it's a cool way to kick off the year. Right in the midst, or actually, maybe not in the midst of it, maybe actually before, you won the United States Championship. There was a lot of talk, as I mentioned, you were announced in the Money in the Bank ladder match, you qualified, had to be taken out of it, you win the U.S. Championship. There was a lot of buzz, is Apollo going to go heel? Is he going to become a bad guy? Blah, blah, blah. Obviously, that didn't surface, that didn't happen. Was that all just speculation, or was there actually a plan there, from what you know, for that to happen at some point, and it just didn't surface? And obviously, everything happens for a reason, but is there any insight you can add to that?
Well, I don't think it was something that was. It wasn't. I hadn't discussed it with anybody. Gotcha. I think a lot of people just started making speculation. I think because of the way, the story was going, and kind of MVP trying to recruit me at that time and stuff as well. But it's something that I would love to kind of dip my feet into, because I've always been the smiley guy, the happy guy, that just having a good time and just going out there doing the right thing. But sometimes you got to cut corners, and,
exactly.
but it's honestly something that I would. I haven't worked heel for like since like when I used to go to Japan, so that was over 6-7 years ago.
That's
you
crazy.
know, so yeah, and it'd be nice because I think everybody should evolve in some kind of way. You know what I mean? And if I look at myself, and this is just me being honest, if I look at myself from the moment I've been here, I've kind of just been the exact same for the last 5 years. You know what I mean? And I think, you know, change is always for the good. You know, I think evolution is good too, you know, so it'd be nice to try something different and for people to see something different as well. And, you know, who knows, it could be the thing that takes me to that next level as well too.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, especially since we've seen so many baby faces over the years, like the natural good guys sometimes almost always make for the best bad guys. So maybe at some point this year, you know, we could see that happen with you as well. Well, yeah, Becky,
I feel like sometimes like guys you see who are like, you know, naturally just good, it's just in their nature, somewhere deep down in there, just to be kind of to be that bad guy.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, you know, Becky Lynch, Johnny Gargano, Sami Zayn. At some point, it almost has to happen. It's almost inevitable. You know, it's that old phrase from the Batman movies: either die the villain or die the hero, or live long enough to see yourself become the villain, or something along those lines.
Become the villain. Yeah,
exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Final few questions for you, Apollo. You mentioned
real. That's real.
Exactly. You know, you bounce around so many times between Raw and SmackDown over the years. You're on SmackDown now. You were just recently on Raw. You've gone back and forth a bunch of times. Was ever going back to NXT for like a full-on run, like a Finn Balor or a Killian Dane or whoever, in the cards? Because I know you did the one-off on against Kushida a couple of years ago, which was awesome.
Yeah, that was really fun. It was really fun. Yeah. I've thought about it plenty of times. You know, it's especially when I'm kind of like, I don't want to say like I'm at my lowest, because I was never like depressed, or I was never like you know, I want to quit, or you know what I mean. But it was always something that I definitely thought about, because things didn't always go the way I'd hoped that they would go. You know, on Raw or SmackDown, and like you said, it'd be like, okay, I'm on SmackDown this time, nothing happens, the draft comes, and then I go to Raw, and then it's like, well, I didn't do anything on SmackDown, hopefully something can happen on Raw. Then Raw comes, and it's like, okay, there's a little bit of something, but not really anything, you know. And then we had like Titus Worldwide, and with, you know, Titus and Dana Brooke, of course, and a little bit with Tozawa in there, and then, you know, it's back to SmackDown, and it's kind of like, okay, what's what's going to happen now? So of course, naturally, I was like, maybe I should just go back to NXT, because at that time too, I didn't. When I look back, I felt like I could have done a lot more in NXT. You know what I mean? I didn't win any titles or anything on there. I was just kind of getting started, having, you know, some matches with guys like Finn Balor, Baron Corbin, you know, Samoa Joe's, those kind of guys. And it kind of just was like overnight, and it's like, boom, hey, you're debuting on Monday Night Raw. And of course, oh man, this is a dream come true. Let's, this is, it's a time. Let's go. You know what I mean? And you don't even think about it at that time of like, okay, maybe I could stay a little longer to develop, you know, my character, or figure out something that may work a little better than me just being this guy who smiles and does cool moves. You know what I'm saying? But I think at the end of the day, like, everything happens for a reason, and I believe that, you know, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. And I have a lot of career left. I still have a long way to go. So I don't think it's something that I, you know, should sit here and harp on, or, you know, wish that I would have stayed longer or anything like that. I just accept what the situation now, and make the absolute very best of what's happening right now. And that is an Intercontinental Championship match this Friday on SmackDown. So that's the way I look at things. I try not to, you know, think about what could have been or what should have been, and just focus on being present in what's going on right now, and looking forward to the future.
Exactly. And one last quick thing, too. You mentioned Tozawa as part of the Titus Worldwide stuff. That was the only real interaction you guys have had while you've both been in WWE, on TV anyway. How was that tag team?
That's another crazy thing.
I know, that's the crazy thing. How have you guys not had like a tag team going yet? Has that been something you guys have discussed at all, or whatever, at some point?
Yeah, I've talked to him about, even with Ricochet, you know, we always feel like, man, that we'd love for the three of us to be like involved in some kind of way, even if it's a feud with each other, if it were to get whatever it is, just to be involved in some kind of way. But for a while there, I was with Ricochet was helping me out, but with Tozawa, we had the one interaction, and then it was kind of like that was that, and then it hadn't been talked about again or anything. And then of course, once the draft came, I came to SmackDown and Ricochet stayed on Raw. So it was almost like, well, we just all kind of went our separate ways.
Yeah.
But it's just the nature of the business, you know. It's just how it goes.
Yeah.
And who's to say it can't happen? It can't happen in the future either.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think there's bound to be a time and a place where that's going to happen, and it's going to be great when it does. Last question for you, Apollo. Obviously, we got the Intercontinental Championship match coming up on SmackDown this Friday. Very exciting stuff. You mentioned maybe exploring, a darker, more aggressive character at some point down the road. Other than those two things, do you have any? I mean, obviously, this is a very generic question, New Year's resolutions and whatever. But do you have any goals that come to mind as far as stuff that you want to do in 2021, or is it just business as usual?
Are you talking in wrestling or just in general? Or
I guess actually kind of both, professionally and personally.
Man, yeah, there's quite a few. I think I've so with this pandemic for me, like I said when it started, I got two kids, and when it first started, it was a little difficult because it was a complete, and not just for me, for everybody. It was just like a 360. Like everything was just like, I should say 180. But it was just like I'm on the road 4 days a week, and then next thing I know, I'm home 6 days a week, you know what I mean? And when we go to the Thunderdome, I lived like, when we were here in Orlando, I only lived like, 12 minutes away. So it wasn't like it was such a different, it was so different. So for me, like just getting that patience and sitting back and being like, okay, I need to become a better man. I need to be a better father, and I need to embrace the situation that we're in right now. So that was one of my, I guess, is a long time ago, but when that was one of my earlier goals, and I've worked very hard on that, and I feel like I've mastered that. So just want to continue with that, having that patience into the new year, and being the great father that I love being. My two kids are awesome. Being a great husband, fiance, that's another thing that I'm working very hard on. And as far as wrestling goes, it starts this week. Just being involved in those high-profile matches and showing that I can compete at that level. Not just in the ring, but with the promos as well. That's another thing that I've been working extremely hard on, is making sure that I want to be entertaining. I don't want to just be some guy who's out here like doing cool things. It's like, okay, yeah, I want to be involved on a regular basis and be a household name in 2021. So that's definitely one of my overall goals. It sounds pretty generic, but I guess there's little goals inside that big goal that I have to work on to get me to where I want to be with that. So that's the overall thing. But personally and professionally, those are the two things that I'm focused on this year.
Fantastic. Well, happy to hear it, man. I was there for your TakeOver Brooklyn debut 6 years ago, and it's crazy to think it's been 6 years since then. It's been a crazy journey. It's been awesome to say.
It has, and it's just getting started. That's the crazy part about it.
Exactly. And it begins or starts all over again, or however you see it, this Friday on SmackDown, Intercontinental Championship match, you and Big E on Fox. It's going to be awesome. Thanks so much for the time, Apollo.
New year, new everything. Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you having me.